listening to 40 Weeks, a production of the Pregnancy Podcast with Vanessa Merton. Visit pregnancypodcast.com/week for all of the 40 Weeks resources and sign up with your due date to get each episode delivered to your inbox when you start a new week of your pregnancy. Thank you for tuning in to the 40 Weeks podcast. Welcome to week 26, 14 weeks to go. You can see a picture of what your baby looks like this week, read the transcript, and access the additional resources at pregnancypodcast.com/week26. Last week, your baby was the size of an acorn squash. This week, they're roughly the size of a zucchini. They measure 13.8 inches or 35.1 centimeters and weigh 2 pounds or 913 grams. Your baby's eyes are still shut, but they're almost fully developed and they'll soon be ready to open. Their eyes are blue and they may not display their final color until a few months after birth. Your baby's brain is maturing and growing rapidly. Their brainwave activity is kicking in at this stage in their fetal development. And that's exciting. Not only can they hear noises, but they can also respond to them with an increase in pulse rate or activity. This sense is going to continue to improve as their hearing sharpens throughout their time in their belly. By 26 weeks, your baby will react to sounds, and some research even points to earlier responses. If you would rather not sing to your baby, you can always play music. A small pilot study found that listening to music decreased stress and anxiety in pregnant mothers. Another study found that listening to music during pregnancy is associated with higher levels of well-being and reduced symptoms of postpartum depression in the first 3 months after birth. Listening to music that both you and your baby hear is one way you can bond with your baby during pregnancy. If you're not a music lover, you're not doomed to never bond with your baby or to have postpartum depression. But if you do enjoy listening to music regularly, by all means, keep doing it. There's a lot of research going back decades that babies react to their mother's voices in the womb and that they prefer their mother's voices over other voices. Part of this may be that your voice sounds different to your baby because the sounds resonate through your body differently than external sounds. You are about 2/3 of the way through your pregnancy, and this week your uterus is about 2.5 inches above your belly button. In addition to your blood type, you have a positive or negative RH factor. If you're RH negative and your baby's father is RH positive, your baby may also be RH positive. So this means that incompatibility is possible if your blood and your baby's blood are mixed. Usually this doesn't happen, but it could in a case of an injury like a car accident, if you have a miscarriage or an external cephalac version, which is a procedure to try and flip a breech baby, if you have an invasive test like an amniocentesis or a CVS, or during the birth process with interventions like using forceps, a vacuum, or during a cesarean section. To prevent incompatibility, there's a shot given at 26 to 28 weeks, and that's called RhoGAM, and that prevents your immune system from attacking your baby's blood. This works similarly to a vaccine. If you have a negative blood type, please check out the Pregnancy Podcast episode on the RhoGAM shot. It examines the evidence and the pros and cons, and you can see that episode at pregnancypodcast.com/RhoGAM. That's RHOGAM. Braxton Hicks contractions are sporadic contractions that many pregnant women experience in the second and third trimesters. Like everything pregnancy related, they're going to be different for everyone. Occasionally, they can be strong, but they tend to be more uncomfortable than painful. A tip for dads and partners this week: talk to your baby. This may seem a little bit silly initially, but they can hear your voice and respond to familiar sounds with movement. If you routinely talk to your baby, when they're born and they hear your voice, they will recognize it. Thank you for tuning in to the 40 Weeks podcast. You can see the full transcript and all of the resources for this episode at pregnancypodcast.com/week26. Next week, your baby is probably sucking their thumb. And until then, I wish you the very best in your pregnancy journey.